All right, we're back. Hello. Welcome to this week's conclave. Uh, my name is Ben, and I am very excited and very grateful to bring this week to you our conversation around energetics. And um, yeah, really wanted to drop in and express my gratitude to you, the community, and beyond who maybe are thinking about joining this community. And yeah, you're welcome here to participate in all the things that we're sharing, whether or not you're a member. We'd love you to come in and be a member and um, dive deeper with us as we continue to expand these offerings going forward. And yeah, really, this church exists to bring uh, teaching and space and some wisdom that we have gathered along the way to you, and hopefully provide some value in your life and uh, ways to overcome obstacles, or maybe realize there's no obstacles there to begin with. It's just the path we choose. So, with that being said, I'd like to introduce my partner and counterpart, Cynthia.
Hi everyone. Yeah, my name's Cynthia. I'm not sure if you've seen me in previous videos as we're just getting these all fired up. But I am here, as Ben said, to provide some information in regards to the various modalities that I have studied and use in my coaching practice. I focus on somatics, sensuality, and spirituality, just to kind of keep them crisp and clear. And today's topic is about energetics and energetics in altered states. So I'm very excited for us to get into that. But maybe before doing so, I can tap Ben back in to talk about the intentions of the church, how and why it was founded, and then diving into some announcements.
Yeah, thank you, Cynthia. So, yeah, our intention just provide resources, provide a safe space in order to help deepen our relationship with ourself, with the planet, with each other, with spirit, and beyond. Um, yeah, it's been really a great honor to participate in that, and want to continue to bring that forward to you, the people, and for all of us to have, again, this safe space to collaborate. Um,
Yeah, and then on top of that, some of the other announcements is regards to a pamphlet that's
mm,
associated with the Light Wand Sacrament, all about harm reduction, great ways to best utilize it, support, which Ben and I also provide, um, and a great playlist as well to utilize while going into your meditations with said Light Wand. And some other fun announcements we have coming up is we will be actually hosting a live stream in June where we'll be doing a live meditation, inviting whomever wants to participate with the Light Wand Sacrament. And we'll release those details a little bit later on, so just stay tuned for that. Simultaneously, in mid-June, we will be at the MAPS conference in Denver. So if you're planning to attend, maybe you'll see us there. So yeah, anything else?
yeah, we'll be at Maps, so come find us. We'll be poking around.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So with that, I think it would be really wise for all of us to just tune in for a short while. I'd like to introduce you all to a body scanning practice that is a little bit more elevated than just scanning the body. We're actually going to do a practice called rainbow meditation. And we'll probably do this for about 5 minutes. It'll bring you, the viewer, into a more clear, energetic state in your energy body. You'll hear me mention things such as chakras. I'll explain what those are a little bit later on in this conclave. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and do the practice. You can remain seated. You can lie down if you want. And I invite you to close your eyes. Just close your eyes and take a couple rounds of breath. Just bringing in awareness, single point awareness to your breath, what it sounds like as you inhale and exhale. Inhaling again. Noticing what the inhale feels like in your body. And then exhaling once more. And we'll take another inhale. Paying attention to the sound of your inhale and exhale. Now as you inhale in the next round, imagine you're pulling a red light, a red energy up from the base of your feet, the soles of your feet, all the way up to your hip area, to the bottom of your tailbone. Just pulling this red energy all the way up. And on the exhale, just allowing that red to fully release, going all the way back down to the base of the feet. On your inhale again, you'll just continue to visualize that red energy moving up the legs, up into your hips, to the base of your spine. As you exhale, imagining the energy that came up your right leg is going down the left leg. And the energy that came up the left leg is now going down the right leg. And you'll do that just once more. This is activating your root chakra, helping you feel grounded and safe. Clarifying it. You move into your next inhale. You'll then pull an orange color up through your feet, up the legs, past your hips, and to the region just 2 inches below your belly button. This is your sacral chakra. And then as you exhale, just allowing that orange color to flow back down the legs and out through the bottom of the feet. And on your next inhale, pulling the orange back up again, all the way to your sacral region, which is really influential on your sense of independence and your emotions. And as you exhale, those 2 different streams of energy flowing down the opposite legs. And on our next inhale, we're going to pull a beautiful sun yellow light all the way up from the bottom of the feet, same pattern, up the body, past the legs, past the hips, past the belly button region to just in the bottom rib area. Breathing in that yellow light. This is your center, your solar plexus, which is your center for confidence, joy, self-assuredness. And then exhaling, releasing that yellow as the other colors before, all the way down to the bottom of the feet. And inhaling the yellow back up. And releasing it again. And we'll do one more, inhaling the yellow up. And then as you exhale, you'll alternate the energy flows from one side of the body to the other. This is balances out your solar and your lunar sides of the body, the masculine and the feminine sides of the body. And on your next inhale, we're going to move into love, into the heart space. So you just pull this green color from the base of your feet all the way up the body until you reach your heart center. You can place a hand on your heart if that feels good, or anywhere on your body that I'm cueing, just to bring more awareness. And then exhaling, dropping the green back down to the base of the feet. And you're exhaling, feeling activation in your sense of peace, balance, love, then pulling green back up again. So imagine your entire lower body, the cavity of your abdomen and your chest being completely filled with this green energy. And exhaling, releasing the energy flows to the opposite sides of the body. And on your next inhale, we'll start pulling a blue up from the bottom of the feet all the way to the center of your throat. This is your throat chakra, all in regards to your voice, your ability to speak the truth, your truth. And exhaling, releasing the blue back down. Very good. And again, inhaling the blue up. All the way to your throat, feeling that activation, noticing if there's any sticky points within the body where you're not sensing the color. Maybe you're not sensing the blue now. And that's okay. It's just an indication of where you're at within that particular chakra. And releasing the blue back down. And then one more inhale into the throat, your region of honesty and healing. And many times we see a disconnection between the throat chakra and the Muladhara chakra, which is the grounded chakra, especially in women. We'll tap into that a little bit later. On your next inhale, we're going to pull in a beautiful purple light all the way up the body to the center point between your eyebrows. This is known as your third eye. So just keeping that same breath pattern. This is your region of seeing. And as you exhale, letting that beautiful purple light flow all the way down to the bottom of the feet. And inhaling once more, inviting in clarity and wisdom. And exhaling as you release the energy channels to the opposite side of the body. And once more, we'll breathe in this beautiful purple light, bathing your entire lower body with this pure I see energy and wisdom. And exhaling all of it back down. And on your next inhale, pulling a crystalline white light from the base of your feet up past your ankles, your shins, your knees, your quads, your hips, your abdomen, your chest, your throat, your face, your third eye, all the way to the top of your head. This is your crown chakra. And then releasing that white light all the way back down, being bathed in the purity of the I understand spiritual connection. Purifying your entire antenna. And then again, inhaling all of that white light up, feeling the connection for your entire being all the way up to the top of your head. And then we'll just stay here for a few breaths, not allowing the white light to flow back down, just allowing your entire being to be permeated in this crystalline, perfect white light. Inviting in higher levels of consciousness from the base that you are, the I am. You feel with clarity. You do with strength and joyful confidence. You love from a balanced and peaceful place. You speak with honesty and healing. You see with clarity and wisdom. And you are always in spiritual connection. And this allows you to really just be activated in all of your chakras and clear. So we'll just take one more inhale before we'll come back into this conclave. And as you exhale, just releasing You can invite that white light to stay with you and all of your chakras to stay online now that your rainbow meditation is complete. Very good. All right, so that went a little longer than I anticipated, but I wanted to give you the full experience instead of it just felt right to do the full experience. With that, we'll move into defining what is energy. So, Ben, would you like to start or would you like me to dive into this?
Yeah, well, yeah, totally. Maybe it'd be good for you to start this.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, what is energy? So, essentially, we're going to conceptualize energy in this particular conversation in three different ways. So, somatic energy is a felt sensation. Think about heat, tingles, density, spaciousness, like whatever you're sensing in your soma, in your physical body. In later chats, I'll probably do a whole thing on soma, which gets into even more details on that. But for now, somatic is one bullet point. The next is spiritual. So, kind of what we were just doing with scanning the body and feeling energetic forces or prana. You think of life force or prana that animates all beings and connects us to source, God, divine, whatever your particular flavor of connection is. And the next is the quantum world, which is frequency and vibration as a foundational aspect of matter. So yeah, there's a lot going on in like quantum computing, quantum healing, quantum timeline scanning, things to think about as we move forward. But this just gives you a really good kind of outline as to what those are. And we can also think about energy in regards to cultural systems that are most popular. And of course, this isn't covering all of that are out there, just providing you a general outline. So Tantra or yogic systems are some of that. So when we think about Tantra, we think about chakras and Kundalini energy. So the chakras are something that we just scanned. There are 7 major chakras within the human energy body, and um, um, and it's not to say there aren't more of those, but those are along the midline of the body. Some people visualize them as colors, others see the actual symbols, others hear specific sounds associated with those chakras. Um, but that's the basics of it. And then knowing that there's other chakras outside of the body, and then also smaller. And by smaller, I mean think of them as those like energy sources. So some are more powerful nuclear energy sources, whereas others are not so. The next is Kundalini energy. So this is um, it's again along the midline of the body, and it's a channel. It's rooted in the base of your spine, and when activated, it moves through all of the chakra systems. And associated with it, there's 2 other energy channels, the Ida and the Pingala. We won't get into all of the philosophies around these different systems. So the second cultural system is Ayurveda. This is relatively known in India and that region of the world, and is spreading into the West. And Ayurveda is based on doshas and subtle body layers. Doshas are put together, they're called your constitution, and it's basically what you are made of based on the elements. So you think air, ether, fire, water. And then the third would be traditional Chinese medicine, which many of us are kind of familiar with, which is qi. And qi flows through the meridians. And the meridians are actually, they kind of look like our if you think about like our blood vessels and how if you could look at like a diagram what they look like, they almost follow that same system. And even the nerve. So they're energetic points, and more studies are being done to show that these uh, meridians are actually um, present within the body. So if you go and get acupuncture, they're working with your meridians. And those meridians are associated with different emotions, as well as different organs within the body. And then the last that we'll talk about today is known as Reiki. And Reiki is a Japanese word, and it stands for universal energy. And can be channeled through your hands, which we're going to do a little bit of that today. So yeah, anything else, Ben, that you'd like to touch on?
No, I'm not in that in the regard. I feel like you did a great job expounding on the different elements of what we're going to be talking about as we move forward in this conclave.
Okay, great. One other thing I wanted to touch on was some practices that we can do. And the first one, if you're not really familiar with your energy body, or when we were doing the rainbow meditation and you couldn't really feel or sense different aspects of your body, I want to invite you into a somatic energetic practice, which is just doing self-touch and tracking. And there's different types of touch. There's like feather touch, which is just like you're lightly grazing the top of your hand. There can be like more like pressure and squeezing, like tapping, scratching. And my invitation is just to take a few seconds and just like close your eyes and start to touch your body with those different sensory ways of touching. And just track how that feels on maybe your arm, your tummy, your legs, your face, your neck. And this will start to bring you into a greater state of awareness of what sensations feel like in your body. For most of us, we are living in our heads all the time and we're truly disconnected from the physical body. And it's my belief that if you're disconnected from the physical body, you're going to be much more disconnected from the more energetic etheric space, which isn't just layered in the body, but it is throughout the body and then also outside of you. And then when we go into altered states, we might be blasted off into these energy sensations and not know necessarily what best to do with them or how to take them in, and our nervous system might be a little bit overwhelmed. So that just tactile way of touching and tracking can bring a lot more awareness and sensation into your non-altered state of reality. And I'd mentioned Reiki hands. So the way to activate your Reiki palms, and we all have access to this basic level of energy. And then if you choose to train more, there are activations that come through the lineage where you go to a teacher, you learn specific symbols and chants, which then you are given access to a higher level of this energy. But we all have the access to it to a degree. So you just rub your palms together. And then when it feels good, start to pull your hands apart just gently. You might feel some heat or tingling. For me, it feels like chewing gum that's like stretching apart. You probably will notice a magnetic pull in some way. And this is you just playing with your own energy body, your Reiki ball. You can create a little Reiki ball if you want with your energy. And something fun to do when you're with others and wanting to test this out is each of you create your own ball of energy. Really visualize you're placing your energy into a sphere. And then each of you at the same time, throw your Reiki ball to someone else. Don't do it now, but do this with someone else. And you might feel a way different texture of energy. The first time I did this, like somebody's ball felt really heavy, one felt really like fuzzy, another one was super bouncy. And this is a really great way to affirm that what you're sensing is true, is real. The brain's always scanning for reality, right? So I think this is a really great way to start to come into the reality that the energetic realms do exist. There's so many unseen things out there that we use. Like think about the internet, right? Or other different microwaves and different waves that aren't visible to the human eye, but they do exist. So the same thing is possible within other energetic systems that are innate to the human being. So that's your Reiki ball. Something to do with your Reiki hands, because they're extensions of your heart. Your hands are extensions of your heart, and your heart is magnetic, is you can scan your body from starting from the top of your head and invite in this universal energy, this like clear sense, God sense energy, and just like scan your body. And as you feel like heat or tinglings or disruptions in your hands, that's a sign to like just stay there for a while and allow more Reiki to be focused on that particular spot. And as you do this more, you're going to get intuitive guidance on how to move your hands, where you should go next. And there are specific patterns that you can do. I'm not here to teach you Reiki fully right now, but if you want to learn the patterns, you could just Google like what's the proper way. And then you just scan all the way down your body to the base of your feet. When you're done, you just wipe off your hands, or if they feel like really sticky or really tingly, that means you're accumulating a lot of density on your hands and you just want to break it up. And that's it. That's it for now for Reiki. Another practice, just referencing my notes here, is breathing into your body. So I don't want to take too much time doing this practice, but essentially, so I'll just mentally walk you through it. Is breathing, just doing your rounds of breath, kind of coming into your body, and then breathing into your chest a few rounds and noticing if there's any stickiness there. And if there is or any density, you just invite the breath to that space and welcoming the space to relax if it wants to, or just be as it is. And then you move into your abdominal region, just filling up your lower lungs, expanding to the front and the back of body. And then you move into the pelvic region. And most people, when they get to the pelvic region, they have a lot of stuck energy. And this makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of sexual trauma and shutdown and security challenges in the West, or maybe just in the world in general. And this is where I encourage most people to breathe the most deeply, especially in my sensuality coaching. This is called erotic embodiment breath. And it's a highly effective way to scan your body for density, see if you have any stickiness in your heart, in your abdomen, or in your pelvic region. Yeah, and I think that's it for this particular, like, what is energy. I want to just toss it back to Ben to see if there's anything he has to add to the subject.
Oh yeah, yeah. So just adding in some texture, you referenced like the practice. We sort of did a little of this in the beginning with the rainbow meditation and bringing things up and down, such as like the relationship um, with us embodying, but also um, creating this visualization of the energy moving through our body when we do these practices, and can kind of help us relate to these parts. And as we bring this into the navel, the chest, the pelvis, all these different regions, you may not experience it quite at first, but with practice and with attunement, you begin to drop into that texture. So just being patient with it and letting it develop over time.
Yeah, perfect. I think that's a great addition. The next thing we want to talk about is altered states and maintaining some safe ways to navigate, and some signs that you're shifting into an altered state, whether it's utilizing medicines or using other ways of exploring altered states. Many times you go into altered states based on actions that we're taking, and those actions can be done with intention. Sometimes it just happens. One of those ways that it just happens for me is like I'm driving and I just like get into some weird forward momentum flow. And next thing I know, I've reached my destination, but time has completely collapsed on itself. But some intentional ways of moving into a meditative altered state is through meditation or prayer, um, trance activities like dancing, chanting, if you're playing music of some sort. And one of the easiest ways to get into an altered state that almost every adult human has engaged with, is through sex, and in sex through the state of orgasm. And that is, from my belief system and experiences, one of the, I'll say, easiest ways if you have a healthy relationship with intimacy and connection and can reach a state of orgasm. It is one of the easiest ways, most direct ways to reach an altered state. Is more temporary based on how we connect in the West, but there are tantric practices that allow those waves and those connections to the altered state to be prolonged. Other ways, breath work. Some of you, when you go into high states of grief, might feel completely altered. And then other activities like running can bring you into an altered state. And then, of course, substances can alter your state of being. We are advocates for certain sacraments at this church, and of course, are not saying that others are wrong. But yes, plant medicines, animal medicines can move you into a different state of being. Ben, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, yeah, just fully in support of that. Like, there's um, we're seemingly to modulating our experience from a baseline homeostatic experience, and we can up and down regulate it through these different practices. And some of them kind of meld together and work together. You know, music, singing is a form of breath work. So it's a lot of these things are nuanced, but also connected so deeply into this holistic human experience. So, you know, playing and dancing in the energy space of that enables us to, you know, to really deepen into what energy is and how to work with it with ourselves. And you know, a lot of this maybe roots into the essence of us as creators, of creator beings, where we're able to move ourselves and experience all these different textures. And it can get exciting as we play with it. So yeah, just more reinforcing, leaning into those experiences as they come through when we work with these different practices.
Yeah, I love that you share how they can be interwoven. And of course, this is not an exhaustive list. There's so many other ways of moving into altered states. Uh, and I would love to know with you all, like, what, if you want to write in the comment section, what are some ways that you move into an altered state? And some signs that you are moving into one of these states is time distortion. You might be having emotional releases, various textures on the body, like your body becomes very sensitive. Or for me, most of the time, my body, it's almost like it completely disappears at certain times. Visuals or color fields, you might begin auditorily hearing things outside of what we'll term as reality. Or you might have strong emotions like euphoria or fear or curiosity, elation, any of those things. Ben, do you have anything in regards to what are some signs for you when you're shifting?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes like my body will just start to feel like waves, like like vibrations almost. Yeah, and well, especially with if I'm doing like a breath practice or anything that's really activating, my body temperature will change. I'll start to get cold or warm depending on how I'm modulating the breath and moving the body. And so that's sort of like an indicator, like, okay, things are changing, and then leaning into that, pushing into that to that experience. And so, you know, especially some of these things like breath specifically, I'll reference like having blankets and just going into this, like having things to like be able to shift how our body's being supported can help to continue to push into it, right? 'Cause oftentimes we'll go and like do some breath, and, like get cold, and then want to stop. And really, the key is like, no, keep going. You know, based on the practice that you have, or you know, if it's you know connection, music, movement, any of these things. Yeah, just supporting the experience beyond what the texture is giving you, and seeing what's further along.
That's perfect. I love it. And of course, I think it's important to think about safely navigating altered states. We created a really obtuse, densely packed video about building self ceremony. And within that video, which I highly recommend going to watch, is uh, a segment in regards to creating a safe and sacred space and what that can look like, especially if you're going into an altered state, utilizing a substance. As most of you know, you can't just come out of those things at will. So you have to really ride the waves. So before going into an altered state, even in a meditation or some chants, mantras, etc., like asking, "Am I willing to open this door? Am I in the right environment?" And then, is it safe in my environment? And I don't mean like you're endangered by like threat of war or something, or maybe you are, but more so like, are you going to be in a place where, as you are energetically expanding and opening up, are you free of disruptions? Have you let your family know, hey, this is a sacred time for me. I'm going to be exploring. Do you mind, providing that nourishment of like non-jolting sounds? Because when that happens, many times when we're in these more etheric, expanded states, our soul, our spirit, what have you, will snap back into the body really fast, and many times aspects of us are left behind. So it's important to have graceful transitions into these altered states and then out of them, and coming into a place of grounding and landing. And it is encouraged to be grounded even while you're going up and out. Think of like a tether on your being, right? A tether to the earth. And ways that you can do that is literally going outside and meditating, or doing it on a grounding mat, or using essential oils that are known for grounding. After you come out of altered states, it's really helpful to ground back into the physical body, again, by touching the earth, being outside, eating dense foods. Like many times people will crave like red meat or something very heavy, or like cheese. Um, I don't recommend doing that initially coming out, like having fruits and things that are a little bit lighter, but then not too long after that, inviting in some like warm, nourishing, denser foods like soups. And then if you're a meat eater, calling in some more grounding food. And if you feel like you're still spacey from these experiences outside of eating more dense foods, I really recommend calling to all aspects of yourself to come back to you. And what I do is I do this at night before going to sleep, and in the morning. I energetically and in my mind say, all aspects of me from all time, space, reality, come back to me. And what I feel is like my body, my center of awareness, feels this flood of all this energy coming back, and I feel much more united in myself. And it can be really great to help like just anchor back into the physical presence and reality of the third dimension. And then another thing that I know Ben really likes to use is physical movement. That helps as well. And with that, Ben, is there something else you'd like to add?
Yeah, well, if we're any of the practices, if I'm going into altered states, I enjoy and recommend to everyone really is to have a few songs or even a playlist of music or instruments that can help facilitate the movement, the vibrations, and then play them and just let your body move, let the body connect to the sound and begin to just get up, move. There's all different techniques. You want to do it like specifics, but really just what feels good, what feels like just like tapping the leg to the music to can be the beginning, or like just like a clap, whatever it is, snapping, and then getting up and actually moving and letting the body express is a really nourishing way to connect the mind and the spirit back into the vessel. Into the vessel is because we know we don't have wings. The vessel is grounded. This is always here. So bringing this this expansion, this as we're in the ether in our consciousness, just coming back into here, into the body. What is it? What is happening? And then just sort of observing and experiencing it is really useful. So even before going into these practices, I would always recommend to have a playlist, or sometimes you do like discovery, like put it on shuffle, see what comes up, and then let something new be discovered. And that's really a beautiful way to kind of deepen into what can be. So yeah.
I'm going to add a caveat to the discover portion, Ben. Some people's discover fees on whatever music program that you use might, based on previous listens, bring you into vibrations, frequencies, sounds that are not going to be the best for you. We touched on this in the building self ceremony, but if it's going to be playing like really dense, more negative frequency sounds, do not do that,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
exactly. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Or maybe you want to explore the depths of this, and this is not me encouraging people to only explore like love and light. Many times, the spiritual world is communities are encouraging people to spiritually bypass. And that means you're only going to love and light and high, right? You're avoiding the darker sides, the shadows. You're worried about a bad trip. Oh, I saw this being, this creature, this aspect of myself while in an altered state. I don't want to look at it, right? And that's not something I'm encouraging you to avoid. That's actually something I'm encouraging people to lean more into, because through my own experience, I see the deep value of finding those parts, loving them, giving them attention, and not being so afraid. But there are certain frequencies that are going to elevate that experience, and others that might bring it down. So if you are in an altered state and you hear something and it's like really grating your system, feel free to change the song, move on. Yeah,
That's right.
most definitely. Yeah. And then something else I'd forgotten to mention, which is really effective as well, is a hot bath using Epsom salts, essential oils again. You can add rose petals into the bath. Those that grounds you back into the body too. Absolutely. Really anchors you. Yeah. And then the next is around energetic hygiene. We kind of touched on this with like the Epsom salt bath or doing a body scrub, or a practice in the Ayurvedic community, which is called Abhyanga, which is oiling. The traditional practice is you're pouring the oil on top of your head and it's running down the body, and you're massaging every aspect of your body in a specific way with this warmed oil. But you can just be loving on your body. But the importance and significance of powerful energetic hygiene is to keep us clear and only within our own, um yeah, just purity of our own energy. So we pick up energy just like we pick up dirt, and that happens through conversations with people, through digital content that we consume. So with that, think about when you're watching a television show of any sort, listening to the radio, overhearing other people's conversations, looking at social media. How do you feel when you walk away from that stuff? Like when you turn it off, that's going to tell you if you're being energetically invaded and uh, accumulating dirt, so to speak, or do you feel uplifted, free, happy? In that case, wow, you're probably not being energetically influenced in a negative way. And then another way is just being around others, or even for those people who travel a lot, there's something called waywards, and wayward souls and spirits tend to hang out in high trafficked areas. And it's not necessarily saying that they're bad, they're just wayward souls that haven't found a way to move on to heaven or to another dimension where they're meant to be. And if you have an open energy body, if there's holes within your body, their energy body, they'll attach to you. And then this, you might know that you have a wayward where all of a sudden you're just like, I don't feel well. I just feel so tired. It doesn't make sense. Or you're experiencing emotions that aren't necessarily your emotions. And that could be a sign that you have a wayward. And it's easy to eradicate those energetic invaders. And I'll teach you how to sweep your auric field and do so in a general way shortly. But some other ways to, like, I would recommend doing these daily or at least weekly, is to, like I said, Epsom salt baths. Um, we touched on sage and Palo Santo last week, but sage really clears the physical body of bacteria that is harmful, and the air of the harmful bacteria. Simultaneously, it cleanses the spirit. And then Palo Santo, which is this like basically a little piece of wood that you burn, it is energizing and uplifting. So doing those two in tandem can be very helpful. Some essential oils that are really useful are frankincense and myrrh combined. Um, sound bowls, chimes, bells, rattles, that breaks up density within your field and can help keep you pretty clean and clear. And one of the practices that I do almost daily, and especially when I'm on like having a busy day, is I visualize. You can do this with your eyes open, but I visualize, even when I'm driving down the road, like a waterfall of Reiki energy. So this crystalline, like white light, or you might feel gold energy or a certain color for you. It doesn't matter, whatever feels the most pure and highest. And I just envision myself kind of leaning back into it and it flooding my entire system from the top of my, like right up here, the crown chakra up here, all the way down through my entire body, and then filling up my auric field. And your auric field it kind of looks like an egg. If you could imagine yourself being in an egg, it fills all of that up. And then just for me, I visualize it and sense it truly, cleaning out any densities in the systems, whether those are stuck emotions, other people's emotions. If I'm not feeling well, I'll try to put that Reiki energy from that waterfall into that specific spot, and it clears away any non-resonant frequencies. A way to up-level that is to take command of your energetic field and say, I am a sovereign being, and I command any energy that is not of love and light and the highest frequency of good out of my field. And you have to say this with high levels of authority. I used to do it, and I was like, oh, I still feel like I'm being invaded. And one of my teachers would say to me, no, you have to really feel into your authority, whether it's your queendom, your kingdom, your empire, whatever your particular, your house, my egg, whatever the language is that most resonates with you, you really have to feel into your solar plexus, right here beneath your rib cage, your power source area, your confidence area. Feel into that. And if you aren't feeling very confident, that's a sign that maybe doing some meditations, focus on that area of the body, visualizing a bright sun coming out of your lower rib area, permeating your entire being, can open you up and build that sense of self-confidence. Ben, do you have any practices that you utilize as far as, elemental clearing?
Unmute. Yeah, well, I mean, this is a good time to get into one of the practices that I really enjoy that uh, seems to be taboo floating around the psychedelic space, but that's mirror gazing, like looking in the mirror. Um, Oftentimes, when I'm going through, say, like a deep experience, and I do this daily anyway. Obviously, there's a mirror, like I stand there when I brush my teeth and do my morning routines, but even more intentionally around when I'm navigating through these altered states and coming back into the body, or if I'm feeling attachments, go into the mirror and like really stare at myself, look into my eyes, and then begin to, from the my point of focus, which is eye contact. Um, I'll look into my eyes for a few minutes until it feels good. The body starts to start of maybe get fuzzy, loses focus as I'm looking into my own soul, and then I'll start to sweep in like a circular motion outside of my eyes and just start to see around my face different aspects. So inviting in the perspective of seeing all the different aspects of your face, nose, mouth, ears, cheeks, forehead, and not being resistant to looking at the fine details. Some of the things that we miss, we don't look at just like, hey, this is just who I am. But um, when you can really dive in and like go deep into the every aspect, maybe look at the hairs, the shape, the wrinkles, the bumps, it allows us to be re-embodied, coming back into the self, and any of the perspective attachments that we have from maybe other beings, other people, animals, they can kind of fade away, and we get back into that purity of ourself, our self experience, and then some words of affirmation, maybe asking inquisitive questions and providing answers. Who am I? Who do I want to be? Uh, what are my dreams? What what do I love? What's my favorite food? Simple things, but it creates a dialogue with the self. Maybe things that we don't do on a daily basis, and we're always reflecting on others. So coming back into self-reflection, a really powerful use of these reflective devices that we have all over the place, instead of replacing it as a tool of judgment and using it as a tool of creation, of projection. So we project it within ourselves, into ourselves, the the connection, the love, the experience we'd like to have. Maybe it's like a deeper form of prayer, where it's not just saying it to the ether. It's like we're saying it to the vessel that is created to bring the prayer into manifestation. So yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So well said. So the sweeping of the auric field is something I would love to teach you all, and then a zip up. So we'll do this quickly. Know that when you do this, it might take time. Give yourself as much time as needed, especially as this practice is new to you. And I'd say, like, the more that you do this, the more connected you might feel. That being said, some days you might just feel like, oh, I don't really feel much, and that's all good. Every day is oscillating, but we'll just invite back in our Reiki hands. And you can do this with your hands, or you can do this with your mind's eye and your visualization techniques. We'll just start with our Reiki hands, seeing where they're at, feeling that magnetic pull, that heat, that tingling, whatever the sensation might be. And then I'm sitting, but what I'm going to do is bring my hands kind of down towards the lower part of my body. And then you start to sweep them up. You can't really see me. Sweep them up like this, but arms fully extended. I can't show you because of the way the video is, but you're fully extending, and you're slowly, it might help you if you have your eyes closed, but you're slowly sweeping your egg like shape that's around your body, and you're feeling for any part of your field that might feel a little tingly, or you can't feel anything there at all, which might mean, oh, I need to stick a patch there, this like self-soothing patch that's going to stick there, and it's going to like help this any type of tear within your field. And just scanning it very slowly, seeing where there's any type of dysregularity in your field. And you're like, oh, right now on my left I feel this cold spot. That's not good. So I put like an energetic patch on my field. And I was like, okay, that's a self-healing patch. It's going to fuse, and then it's going to be a part of my field. And then you can, just bring your arms back down and do this in as many directions as you want. You can do it to the front of your body, up, and the back of the body is way harder, especially depending on your rotator cuff flexibility. But you can find ways of putting your hands just facing backwards and feeling what's going on and just tilting them. And this is going to give you a really great state of awareness of what's going on in your energetic field. And then another thing to do is starting at the top of the head, at your arc line of the top of your head. Men and women both have an arc line right here. When you see depictions of Christ or saints or other ascended beings, they always have this halo. That's because it's an energy system. It's called an arc line. You have it at the front of your top of your head. And then if you're a woman born with a womb, you have another arc line over your breast. And this is another powerful energy source, because this is how we provide nourishment to children when they come in. So important to make note of those. And then what you'll do is basically just imagine there is a energetic seam along your body, and you're going to just start to pull it apart and scrape off anything that's within that field, just tearing it off and going all the way down the front of your body, all the way past your genitalia. If you're seated, if you're standing, you can go all the way past your legs to the ground. And then we'll do the same thing from the top of the head going backwards. And again, this just depends on the flexibility of your arms, your shoulders, and then doing it around your lower back, past your tailbone, under your anus. You don't have to touch your anus, but like just energetically that area, just ripping off any densities. And then from here, when our field feels really good, it feels clean, it feels like we've gotten rid of energetic invaders, we've patched up our auric field. It's really simple. This is a zipper technique. Literally just start in your perineum. So that's the spot between your genitalia and your anus, and you just imagine an energetic zipper, and you just go all the way up, completely sealing your field to the top of your head. And some of you who are really attuned to your body and energy field, you might physically feel sensation as you're doing that. If you're not feeling it just yet, that's okay. It's still working. It's still effective. And doing this with confidence and trust will bring you into greater states of awareness, that of like actual energetic awareness of what's going on. Um, so yeah, that's the beautiful practice of sweeping your field and doing an energetic zip up. With that, I didn't know, Ben, do you want to do an actual mirror gazing example or just leave it intellectualized?
Yeah, I think that covered it pretty well with sort of explaining,
Okay.
describing it. Um, yeah, I yeah, I felt good. I went through the process of scanning the
Yeah.
face and expanding from there. So
Perfect. Okay, great. And again, this is just an invitation for you all. If you have other energetic hygiene practices, we would love for you to leave those in the comments, just so we can know more about what you all are into. Of course, what we've talked about is not the only way to create great energetic hygiene. There's so many beautiful practices out there, and I'm always encouraging people to find their own way. Um, so yeah, drop those in the comments. And then lastly, before we kind of do a close, is just talking about how presence is a portal. And by teaching ourselves to be present, we can amplify our intuitive clarity and energetic sensitivity. And when we're doing this in our waking life, and by waking, I mean like non altered states, and that increases our sensitivity. So then when we go into altered states, especially when we're under the use of substances, we are then more attuned to other frequencies and thoughts and energies that might be trying to come into our open field and disrupt us. And I'll give a personal anecdote here. This was, gosh, several years ago now, but I had taken the sacrament of psilocybin, and I was in my journey on the couch, and I was hearing different thoughts and messages, and I started hearing this one. I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And it sounded very encouraging and positive, but the more I listened to it, the more I realized this isn't my voice. This isn't my higher self. This isn't what my connection to divinity sounds like. And the more I listened, I realized it was actually a negative energy speaking to me and trying to mask it with sugar, mask it with love. And as soon as I realized that, it threw me into this state of like, oh, hell no. I'm going to control my field. I'm going to control my space. And I went into energetic practices that I had built outside of the influence of substances, energy off of me, out of my field, out of my state of awareness, and like the hell, get the hell away from me, you know? And those things can happen. And that's why many times we go into medicine ceremonies where we have circles, we have shamans there. And that's because they're used to sensing, reading energetic states of not only us, but other energies that might be coming into the space. But you can be your own healer. You can be, in my belief, like your own protector, and it takes just time getting to know your energetic field and energetic body and doing these practices so that you can feel safe and protected. And in our building self ceremony video, we referenced, I think, touched in ways in which you can visually, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically protect your space before you even go into these altered states. So just keep that in mind. And some ways of um, increasing your sensitivity is one with what Ben said, which is eye gazing. And that is with yourself in the mirror. And then you really get to know yourself. But you can also eye gaze with others. Ben and I are big fans of eye gazing and with others. And this is a sense of, how do I say it? To me, the more that you can eye gaze with people, the more you become attuned to your own frequency, and then you can really become attuned to that of others. And sometimes you might be eye gazing with someone and sense or feel something that you don't want to feel, and it makes you feel uncomfortable. And that's okay. That just brings you into a state of awareness of like, "Ooh, I am I am reading more into things. And then you can choose to break eye gaze or do whatever feels good to you. And then the last that we'll talk about as far as bringing you into a greater state of presence is just single point focus. So that can be a candle flame meditation where you place a candle, like the flame itself is like right at your eye level and about an arm's distance away from you. And you just take like 10-15 minutes and you just focus on the flame itself, and you'll notice a correlation. The more settled your mind is and the more you're singularly focused on that flame, the less the flame moves. And then if your thoughts start to wobble or attention starts to kind of go away, the flame will start to flicker many times. So that's a great meditation to see where you're at in your single focus. And then something like we did earlier was breath counting, breath awareness, and that really just trains the mind to be in stillness. And then another practice that is less common, it's yantras. So yantras are these geometrical patterns. They're known in the East, and they're associated with different types of energy sources, power sources. And it's sort of like the candle gaze, where you just focus at the very center of the yantra, and it's almost like this portal sucks you in energetically. And this just trains us to be more like centered, here, present, which makes you more sensitive to energy disruptors whenever you come out of your meditation. So, yeah, I think that's it as far as what I have to share on this topic thus far. Would love to invite Ben into sharing anything that's on his heart and his mind in regards to the topic.
Yeah, well, we covered quite a bit and really well detailed some of the practices. A candle flame, that's a practice uh, that's well used in medicine ceremony as well, like peyote ceremony, where we'll have a candle. We use that in some of the other ceremonies as well, just as a singular point of focus to bring bring awareness into that space and to practice with the fleeting mind and the coming back into being, coming back into embodiment, allowing that flow. But really, I think this is an opportunity for us to invite in, again, for you, the community, to share things that maybe became available when you were able to deepen into this experience of focus, of being present, how it feels, what's come up for you. So yeah, outside of that, I think I feel really pretty complete in the topic today. Um, Unless you have anything else to share in that regard.
No, fantastic. Thank you so much for your shares and wisdom in this conversation today. And for those tuning in, just letting you know that we will be utilizing some of these techniques in a more robust way in the live stream light wand meditation coming up in June. So stay tuned for those details. If you are on our email list, you'll get that information in your inbox specifically. So just inviting anyone who's not on our email list, feel free to subscribe. We want to keep you tuned in. And yeah, as always, we would really love your feedback on the ideas you'd like to share with us um, or have us discuss during what we call the Heroes Dose Week. This is intended to be a community based conversation where we're not sticking to one of the main categories, which is ceremony, medicine, and energetics. It really can be anything. And the more feedback we receive from you all, the greater levels of service we can be.
Yeah, we really look forward to that being a dynamic conversation of all different aspects. So yeah, please share whatever's alive for you in that way. We'll include the link again in the description here, and I mean, you can add it in the comments. Just add in the comments whatever's coming alive for you and whatever you'd like to discuss, and we'll bring it into awareness of the community. And then yeah, as Cynthia was saying, like check your emails. We're going to give you some more specifics on the information that's coming and what we have coming forward and into the future. So thank you so much, Cynthia, for your beautiful, amazing wisdom today and sharing a lot of the information that helps us to connect with ourselves and the energy that's all around us and navigate it. So vital in this work and in the work of expansion. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And um, next week, same time, next Thursday at 7 Central, we will be diving into the topic of medicine, specifically 5-MeO and harm
Yep.
reduction. So this is going to be really Ben diving into the exploration of psychological effects, spiritual potential, and the really essential protocols for safety and sacredness. So this is definitely one that you'll want to tune into. We invite you to catch it live. If not, there will, as always, be an amazing recording.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, with that, we love you. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Mhm.
And yeah, be sure to subscribe and like the video if it feels good to you. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Amazing. Bye.